Hey, welcome to the Mirko Movie Guys. I'm Clint Chaffron. This is my buddy Chad Weeks.
And we're a couple guys who like movies and like to talk about movies. Clint, who's our guest tonight?
Chad, we have a very special guest. We have the one and only Batman.
The Dark
Batman,
Knight
welcome
himself.
to the show.
Thanks for having me on, fellas.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this right now.
Yeah, we are too, Batman. But here's the thing: I know that this is that you have to be discreet about things, and I know that we have to talk somewhere safe. So, would you mind giving us a look at the Batcave? Could you take us into the Batcave? We're trustworthy, I promise.
On one condition: I don't show you how to get in.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Fair enough.
I'll show you. Let's turn this camera around here, and
Don't want to wake Alfred.
hit again.
I like it. I like it.
Check out that
secure.
Batcave.
Batcave is secured. We check for devices. We're not being videotaped or anything. Well, I mean we are, but not by anybody. No villains anyway.
You're not being tracked, right?
No, for sure. I watched my back all the way home.
I hope so.
You know, I gotta jump in here, Batman. I gotta ask. You know, you fight all these villains day and night. Who's the hardest hitting villain that you gotta fight?
Well, I gotta say it's a toss-up. But as we all know, the Joker's kind of my number one nemesis. But I'm gonna have to put him at the top. Two-Face, Harvey Dent, was also a close friend of mine. So he can put up a good fight too.
Are you saying that there's a chance that Clint and either Clint or I will become a villain at some point in this I don't know, with this relationship that we have here?
Well, I did just meet you guys, so you're on the clock.
Yeah, touche.
I got you being tracked. Alfred's at the computer right now, just taking a background check.
So
beware.
So the Joker probably gives you the most headaches. And you say you were former friend of Two-Face. Tell me, do you have support? Who's your go-to guy when it comes to helping fight crime out there? Is Damian Wayne? Is he annoying? I mean, because it seemed like he'd be annoying.
Of course, yeah. Damian Wayne is probably. I mean, he's my son.
Yeah.
I got to put him in this place.
Yeah,
got to show
absolutely.
him who's right, who's wrong. I'm the man of the household right here. Dick Grayson, he gets a pass. He was the adopted one. He's kind of cool, but off on his own now, of course. I'd say probably Tim Drake is probably the number one.
Yeah, that's a good
He's
call.
a great detective, just like me.
Yeah.
If you look back in the comic books, he's number one.
Yeah, I would agree with that because Jason Todd, he has a little bit of a dark side.
Don't even mention Jason Todd.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have brought that up. Should have never brought that up. That's my fault.
Yeah, it is your bad.
Well, Batman, I gotta ask. One of the most exciting things about watching Batman is all the cool stuff you get to drive, fly, the whole thing. What is your favorite, way of travel? What if you're jumping in one of the Batmobiles, the Batwing? What are you jumping in?
Well, Clint, as I always say, stealth is the best. I've had some training in ninja, assassin training. I trained with the League of Assassins, so jumping in unnoticed is the best, of course. But if I had to ride, the Bat Cycle. The Bat Cycle would be, you can cut in between traffic, get where you need to go in a quick way.
That probably is the best way to travel and get around from one place to the next. I mean, I find most
Lane
motorcyclists.
splitting, is it a thing?
What's that?
Lane splitting, is it a thing?
Yeah, exactly. And
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
So what about Catwoman? Tell me about Catwoman. What's the real story there?
Catwoman, she's retired these days. I've got. I don't even want to talk about it really. It's kind of one of those things that it's not a love-hate relationship, but we'll just keep it on the down low.
Yeah, that it cuts deep. I get it. Well,
So definitely not like Travis
like a
Kelce and Taylor Swift then. So not that kind of relationship.
No,
Not even close.
not even in the same ballpark.
Hey,
Not
on that
even in the
subject,
same
what do you think
city.
about how do you feel about the Eagles constantly using, like, they got skinny Batman and fat Batman, and what was it, Fast Batman, all that stuff. Do you take pride in that sort of thing, or?
You know what? Those guys are posers. They're just posers. The real Batman's right here. You're looking at him.
All right, that's
got the
fair.
cave.
That's fair. Well,
You know,
hey, Batman, I know you got to get going. Is there any way that we could talk to Nathan for a little bit? I know you guys are close friends. Maybe talk to us about the Batman lore and stuff like that.
who's Nathan?
Welcome back. We got our next guest of the night, Mr. Nathan Sharp. Nathan, welcome to the show, man.
How's it going, guys, fellas?
Doing real good. I imagine that you're doing a lot better than all those Batman villains are right now, as he's out bludgeoning them and beating them to a pulp.
Yeah, I don't know where he went, but he took off in a hurry. I think I heard something about the Joker breaking out of Arkham Asylum or something.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine that happening?
It's on a nightly basis. I mean, he throws them in there, they just get right back out. It's like they haven't planned or something.
Yeah. So, do you care to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became such a big Batman fan?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to say that I'm honored to be on you guys' podcast. I met you guys, what was that, about 2 years
I think
ago?
so. I think it was the
now?
Batman premiere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I was dressed up out there as the Batman and just kind of meeting and greeting guests as they come in and watching the film. So, but I've been looking forward to this interview and sitting down with you guys and talking a little bit. But yeah, so I mean, right from the beginning, I was about 4 years old when that animated cartoon came out, Batman in the animated series. So that was, I think, what was that, 92, 93, something like that. That's kind of how I got my start. I'm going to kind of come into the light here just a little bit more. And so, I mean, Batman 1989, of course, released that before that. So the animated series was kind of heavily inspired by that film. I mean, if you listen to the soundtrack too, the opening theme is almost exactly the same. So that's how I kind of got started. You know, when I first saw that show, it was like I'd watch rerun after rerun after rerun. I didn't care how many times I'd seen it; it was still fresh to me every time.
Yeah.
So
the amount of Batman fans that owe it to that series is I mean,
for sure.
That is pretty much the iconic Batman, in my opinion. That
and
now I'm drawing a blank on his name. Kevin Conroy. That voice, that series, that's pretty much the iconic Batman.
Yeah, I think even when you read a comic book, you're going to hear his voice in your head, you know. That's just the way it is. You know, every book that I've ever read or anything that I read, it's even my own, like, you know, whenever I'm acting my own films or short clips, whatever content that I'm creating, a lot of it is inspired by his voice talent.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
You know, that animated series, that was, I look at that like a pinnacle of my childhood, because literally I would get off the school bus, get home, I'd always like get a big old bowl of chocolate ice cream, and I'd watch Batman the animated series, right? I mean, it was like literally one of my favorite all-time TV shows. Was that cartoon.
Just the way they absolutely, just the way they open it up with that scene and with that music. You know, they have the blimp, or it shows up as WB, and then it turns into the blimp at Gotham City. It just draws you right in, suck you right in like a tractor beam. Just
yeah, we really, as a society, as that like growing up watching that show, did not deserve a cartoon that went as hard as what Batman the animated series does. Because I mean, you're right. Like that is that's a cinematic masterpiece as a cartoon aimed at like 8-year-old kids.
And as a whole, I mean. Yeah, I mean, when you look at it too, like just the stories that were so involved, the character, they had character development in a freaking cartoon of all things too, you know? And I didn't even realize until I was a little older that Mark Hamill played the voice of the Joker, another iconic.
Had no clue until much later in life.
It's wild though
Yeah,
that
you're
those
sitting there.
same voices have carried on in
Yep.
other projects, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
not just the animated
hmm
series. I mean, you got, The Killing Joke and
Right.
and some of the animated movies that these guys continue to keep, they kept voicing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then you have the video games too, the
Yeah.
Arkham games. Those were very legendary too. I played every single one of those several
Yeah.
times
I
through.
caught your
So
poster on that, and I was hoping you'd bring it up because yeah, I
yeah, do you
do.
like
I
that?
love that poster.
Oh, there
Actually,
we go.
if I could direct my camera over here, which I can't, I have the most wanted list. So I have got the rogues from Arkham Asylum, or I think it's probably Arkham City over
Yes.
there. It's got the Riddler and the Penguin and stuff. It's old and beat up because I've had it for a long time, but that is, in my opinion, that is one of the best video games.
You got to frame those things,
What's
man.
that?
Yeah. You got to frame those.
It used to be framed, but the problem is
That's
I had it
well,
hanging above my fish tank, so it got beat up a little bit and stuff. But yeah,
yeah. Well, mine isn't in the best shape either, and I can't believe that game was released even 2015. I think the first one was what,
I
2008,
probably I
2009,
couldn't
something
tell you,
like
but
that.
I'm not. I spent hours and hours and hours playing those.
Yeah, those are fantastic
Shit.
games. I actually won this poster at a GameStop here locally. I dressed up as Red Hood and I got
Oh,
first
cool.
place,
Very
first
cool.
prize.
Very cool.
So
Yeah.
Nathan, I want to talk to you about that, about just some of you talked about how we met you, which was at the premiere of or the opening night of the Batman, and you were there in probably one of the coolest Batman suits that I've ever seen anybody have. And then of course we
Well,
got to
thanks.
go on set, and we'll talk about your film here in a little bit, but you have an
Sure.
amazing collection of all of these different outfits and costumes. You talked about getting into your love of Batman. How did you get into, literally immersing yourself into this universe?
Well, I'll just say it all started with the very first outfit, and I still got the mask actually. I'll bring it up. It's like an old plastic thing. It's got staples and tape in it now. This was my very first mask
Very
right
cool.
here. This piece. So you see staples and scotch tape, so that was it. Whenever I hit that and got that at like age 4, I started playing in that. I had the cape that came out, with the wingspan, and you had the chest with the ad muscles and the belt with the bat cuffs, and I legit thought I could be Batman growing up. So it kind of started from there, and then all throughout my school years, I always imagined my own different stories I wanted to write, and kind of I just had a huge imagination. I wasn't in school; my mind was in Gotham City
Yeah.
half the time. Um, and then once I hit college, and of course I was starting to make my own money, I kind of started piecing together different outfits. I had a Ruby's costume, Halloween costume right at first, and that thing, of course, was like fabric. You got the foam muscles and stuff like that. The mask, I think, was a Ruby's mask, and of course, it didn't fit anybody. It was like a one size fits all, and that thing was baggy. But I thought it was cool, wearing that piece. I just felt like Batman. And then as time went on, um, as I started, like I said, making my own money, then I reached out. I actually joined the community on Instagram, like the cosplay community. There was a lot of guys dressing up as Batman, and I thought, this is cool, man. I started joining like Facebook group pages, so I started noticing like different artists that were making different pieces, and so my outfit is kind of just pieced together from different artists, actually throughout the world,
Wow.
not even the country. So the mask, I'll just show it right here. It's got it displayed. This mask comes from an artist in Texas, Dallas, Texas. He's a very good artist. Actually, so the eyes, I can actually put a white lens in there too, just make it
Awesome.
more comic book
Oh,
accurate.
wow.
But I usually typically leave those out. It's kind of a good look, but then it's also kind of gets in the way sometimes. The cape actually comes from South America,
Really?
Central America, believe it or not. Yeah, it was I saw the picture of it and I was like, I gotta have that cape. It took months and months to get to me, but it was totally worth it. My very first cape, it only went down to like the back of my calves, and I wanted something that actually was like gonna like touch the floor and like kind of drag behind me, just like you see in like, I mean, it just gives that cinematic,
Yeah.
dynamic pose that you see Batman, you know, a lot of times. So, so I had that cape done. The muscles, of course, the beef, the meat of the of the outfit comes from an artist in L.A. He actually worked on films like The Flash. I think he designed uh, the original Flash. The
Oh
older
yeah.
one came from a multiverse. Anyway, yeah. So uh, that was probably the most expensive part of the outfit. And then the boots, I think, are just a
That's
Ruby, you know, from Ruby's
that's an
costumes.
Arkham style bat symbol, isn't it? I
It
think
is,
that's the
yeah,
one,
yeah.
same one from
It's
Arkham, from the Arkham series.
yeah, it is. It's kind of hard to see, but yeah, it's definitely
Very
the
cool.
one. Which yeah, again, I take a lot of inspiration from that game too. They're just something about the
Oh,
vibe, the
it's
whole
awesome.
vibe of those
I
games
mean,
was
I
just
I could
absolutely
talk about
spot
that
on.
game for hours. It's so honestly, I think that the new Spider-Man
Oh
games are the
yeah,
best sequel to those. The only thing that's compared to those Arkham series
yes,
games, I think that the last one they had like the Batmobile. I didn't love using the Batmobile because I feel like it takes away from like the most fun part, which is just flying around Gotham, which is what you do a lot of in Spider-Man. So
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, take the highest point, Wayne Tower, and just jump off, dive off, do a swan dive,
yeah,
and just glide.
exactly.
So
It's so cool.
it's funny talking about that video game. I believe Chad is the first one that I know of that finished 100% of the Riddlers. Right? I think there's like
Oh
100 of
yeah,
them or something scattered
Yeah,
throughout
I
that
think that
game,
was
and they were like some of them were like next to
okay.
impossible. And I
that was
would love to
Arkham
know
City.
the
You
yeah the number of hours that Chad has
oh
put
yeah.
into it. Man, it's impressive in
Yeah,
itself.
Well, and not only that, but the amount of money too. I mean, you got the DLC packages, you know, you got the add-on packages. You can get combat and get
yeah,
different skins. I
yeah,
bought it all like the night of.
for sure, for sure.
So if Chad's the first guy you met, I'm the
There you
I'm
go.
the
I figured
second
that was
guy
coming.
that you'll meet that did all the Riddler puzzles. Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
I can see this amazing bat cave behind you with all this memorabilia, and I know
Yeah.
the listeners are you're only going to see this if you're watching this on YouTube, right? But you got to take us around, show us like your top 5 pieces that you have in your collection there.
Sure, yeah. Well, phew, top 5. That's going to be a tough one for sure. So let's see, my top 5 pieces. I gotta say, I actually just picked these ones up not long ago. These Todd McFarlane makes some amazing
Godfather.
action figures, heavily articulated. I wish, oh yeah, I wish I had these action figures when I was a kid because I would be playing
Yeah.
with them all the time. But he just started releasing these. This is
Oh wow.
Batman the
Oh,
Animated Series. This is the Bat Cycle. Yeah, I just literally got these like probably 2 weeks ago from Target. And then I've also got Scarecrow. I don't know if you can see him there, but I've got Scarecrow and then Mr.
all from the
Freeze.
animated series back in the early
Um,
'90s. That's wild. That stuff is still
absolutely.
so.
Yeah, yeah. And they're so detailed.
Yeah, I just bought a Toka from the Ninja Turtles. Like it
Yes.
looks just like the one that I had when I was a kid, but it's just like an updated version that's more articulated and stuff. It's like they are totally catering to
Dude,
adults our age by recreating
I
the
was
same
just
toys that
fixing
we
to
had
say
back
that.
then.
Oh yeah, and you know they're just making
Oh yeah, for
bank
sure.
on that.
For sure. And isn't it great that,
Yeah.
that's more accepted now? It's like being a nerd is kind of cool now, where you know your comic book stuff, and now you're a cool kid. Back in the day, if I said, hey, let's read some comic books. I remember I had a friend over and I asked him that, and he's like, no, let's go play basketball. I'm like, oh, okay, all right.
No. Yeah, let's go throw the
Yeah.
pigskin around.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
You mentioned Todd McFarlane, and I just got to throw this out there, but I just
coming.
got a ASM 300, Amazing Spider-Man 300, signed by the Todd
Oh.
father. So I'm
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
so that's
super cool.
that's one of my grails. So
I would say, yeah, you gotta make sure and protect that
Yeah.
one. That one's got to be in
Yeah.
a vault
Yeah.
somewhere.
So Nathan, Oh,
So
yeah, or you got more things to show there? I'm all about it. Let's.
yeah, maybe just a couple things here real quick, but like Hot Toys, also make some good figurines, 6 scale figures. This was Christian
Oh, that's
Bale and
awesome.
Alfred, of course. He's got the armory. And then this was, I don't know if
Oh,
you can
very
see
cool.
it, but the bat symbol, the bat signal. It's actually made by a third-party company, but it's all 3rd scale as well.
You did
So
a YouTube review on that, right?
I
That's what I
did,
thought.
yeah. So yep. I love that piece. I've always wanted a bat signal, and that was like I had to have it. When I saw it listed on eBay, I didn't care what the price tag was. I was buying it.
You have a patient wife, just like mine.
I was gonna. Oh
Yeah.
yes, yeah. That's part of it.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
how it goes. And then the other one, this one here, of course, this one's Todd McFarlane as well. It's all of the figures from
That's the
the
89 Batman,
movies.
right?
Yeah, so you have 89 Michael Keaton, you have Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, and of course Robert Pattinson, and then they've got the bat signals there that you can
Awesome.
light
D-
up. So it's yeah.
Does the George Clooney suit have nipples?
That's a good question. I'm gonna look.
It does.
Yeah, Val Kilmer's does not, even though in the movie he did. This one they put the armored version, so he didn't have the bat nipples, but George Clooney's
Yeah, I
rocking
love
them.
it. I love it.
That's
Iconic.
great.
Those
Hey,
nipples.
it's
Those
attention to
nipples are
detail
iconic.
right there, man.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So
That's cool.
Actually, I kind of wish they would have Batman versus Superman like Ben Affleck's. They used the Justice League version there, but that's just being picky.
So you just listed off all those characters. Who's your Batman? Let's
Mhm.
rank those Batmans.
Wow, yeah, that's a tough one too. Of course, I think I'm gonna have to go a lot with. Oh, that's a hard one.
It's like picking
I'm
your
gonna
favorite
say-
kids, right?
I'm gonna say, yeah, which you shouldn't do, but in the first place. But I'm gonna say Christian Bale, only because I know I'll get a lot of flack for that. A lot of fans will say that didn't hold up. Those movies didn't hold up to today. But
Those people
I
would
don't
be
know.
wrong.
When those came out in 2008, yeah, and I'm not. That's not throwing shade at Michael Keaton. Like Michael Keaton is still like right up there. I mean, that would be a hard. He's like a close to
Yeah.
or even tied. Just because I grew up with him as Batman. Of all things. But when Batman Begins hit in 2005, I was anticipating that movie so much. And then when The Dark Knight came out in 2008, I think I saw that movie in theaters like 5 times.
Which, rightfully so.
It
That
was
movie
so
changed
good.
the game.
Oh, it did, absolutely. You had Heath Ledger's Joker. I mean, nobody can even match. Not even close.
Not at all. I mean, that's just ranked as one of the top movies of all
Yeah,
time. I
correct.
mean, like even out of the Batman,
Yes,
out of the
even that.
Batman universe, right? I mean, it's just one of the best movies.
Yeah, and when you got Christopher Nolan attached, you're not going to go wrong.
So you've got Christian Bale and then Michael Keaton. Who's 3?
I would say Michael Keaton. Number 3 is definitely Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck.
I'll get a lot of flack for that too, probably. But he's got the size, the build. I mean, he's just an intimidating guy. That's
he did a
what
really
Batman
good.
is.
What's the series that he kind of took after? The Dark Knight Returns, I think, something like that, where two-part animated series.
So
I think it's Dark Knight Returns. Yeah. Anyway, continue.
Yes, those.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they were
those
very
were good. And Robert Pattinson, I really wasn't sold on him. It's a totally different version for sure. But I'm gonna probably put him next. And I hate to throw shade at Val Kilmer and George Clooney, but it's those aren't really in the whole ballpark
So
yet.
I'm gonna disagree with you on a couple factors here. First off, I would put Robert Pattinson at number 2 personally. I think he did great. I would put Val Kilmer right up there with Michael Keaton because I think Val Kilmer did a great job. That movie wasn't great, but I think Val Kilmer did a great job. I think that
You know what? You've got a
Tommy
good
Lee
point.
Jones, I think, was actually the most awkward part of the whole movie. But
Yeah.
and then I would go to like George Clooney at the end there. But we also haven't figured in Kevin Conroy, who, in my opinion, skyrockets to the top, and he's the number one guy there. But
Oh yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. He didn't even hardly get in, but just one appearance
Yeah.
as Batman. You know, in the Flash movies or in the show, I should say, which was cool. Kind of a cool
Yep.
throwback. But yeah, I totally agree with you. The guy is just unmatched.
Absolutely.
I would have to go. I'd probably be similar, but Christian Bale would be my number one. I don't know. I just like you talked about like even like the size of
My
Ben
guy.
Affleck. I thought the size of Christian Bale and just the way he moves, I thought was more like ninja-esque, right? Like that's how you want Batman to move, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He introduced us to that fighting style where he's actually using his what do you call these here is his guards and like fighting with them a lot. And
Yeah.
it's super cool the way he does it. He's got a very unique fighting style that's exclusive to him.
Yeah, well, he also hit that dynamic of good Bruce Wayne Batman too. He played a perfect billionaire playboy, you know.
Yeah, my number two would be Michael Keaton, and then I would probably go Robert Pattinson after that. It was a different style of Batman, but I did enjoy. He's younger, right? Like he's just kind of getting his start. So I mean, like he hasn't got like the gruffness yet, you know. So I kind of like that whole thought, and I'm excited to see where maybe he can grow into this, being as young as what he is, taking that role. I think that. And he's probably not even that young anymore, but he appears that way from a Batman perspective. So,
yeah, he can kind of grow into it. I definitely agree with that. There's some good character development in the future for that, for sure.
Yeah, and also we if we're talking about Robert Pattinson, we got to mention the Penguin, because Colin Farrell's Penguin. I was so not sold on that when I heard about it. I'm like Colin Farrell. And they had. I can't think of his name. Who played Alfred in that one? It was the guy that does all the motion capture. Played Gollum.
You put me on the spot. I can't even think now.
It's always that way. But regardless, I'm like, well, maybe they should switch roles. I could see him being the Penguin and using the motion capture stuff, and then Colin Farrell being a really good Alfred. But he killed it as the Penguin. Absolutely killed it as the Penguin. Love that version.
He did. Well, once he put on all that makeup and that sort of stuff too, it didn't even look like
didn't look at him like him at all. It's totally different.
Unrecognizable.
So I could have went that entire movie. I'm a Colin Farrell fan, and I would have went that entire movie not knowing that was Colin Farrell. I would have had no clue. I still watch it today, and I still struggle to find a Colin Farrell resemblance in there. The name you guys were searching for was Andy Serkis.
I kept wanting to say Tudyk. Alan Tudyk or something like that. Though I knew the last name was an odd one, but Andy Serkis.
One of those guys who's in both DC and Marvel universe. So
who did he play in Marvel? Oh yeah, because he was his Claw in Marvel. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Well, he actually was just in Star Wars too in the Andor series.
I didn't know
no kidding. I that's actually one of the series I've not watched yet, and I'm like a diehard Star Wars fan, and I have not watched Andor yet, and I'm a little bit ashamed of that. So.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't too. I mean, Andor is one of those characters that you don't really think about too much. He's kind of a miscellaneous character, just kind of pulled out of the hat by Disney. But yeah, it was a great show. I think was it 12 episodes, limited series, something like that.
So we talked about your favorite Batman, and now I would assume that maybe the movies may fall in line with that choice as well. But if you had to pick like your top 5 of all the Batman movies, how are you going to rank them?
Boy, again, I'm going to say The Dark Knight, number 1 for me. I saw it so many times, and every time I saw it, I discovered something new. Like I was trying to figure out, like, put my head in like the Joker's shoes and be like, how is he staying this far ahead of Batman?
Yeah.
I was trying to sit there, like, figure it out like a puzzle, and so that was the entertaining part, and just seeing the Joker's, like Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker was just like. It was so good every time, They just nailed every aspect of Batman. But yeah, so The Dark Knight, of course, number one. Number two would probably be Batman '89 for me. Um, Batman Begins is right up there too. They hit the aspect with um, Gotham City, the Narrows, just the whole vibe of Gotham City was perfect. The fact that a lot of that was filmed in Chicago was really cool too.
Yeah.
Which I actually caught the set when I was out there visiting. I was at a White Sox game, and I had heard they were filming in Chicago, and I was like searching up and down the internet on these blogs trying to find out where the
Whacker
set
Drive,
was,
right?
and sure enough, I found it.
Yep.
Whacker Drive, that was it. And yeah, so that was one. And then they were doing some sort of training during the day where they had some guy attached to a helicopter with a harness, and he was legit up on one of top of their highest sky rises up there. And we snuck on set. So like they were closing off this road with cones. My dad and I are sitting in my Chrysler. And the old Chrysler was like rusting out, and we're just like, I don't think we're supposed to be in here. There's no cars. Like, we're on set right now. There's guys walking with walkie-talkies, walking around, and sure enough, I see this guy get out of this van, and he's got a harness on, and they're like landing the helicopter on the street right there where we're at, attaching him, and he's going up in the air attached to this thing. They set him down on the building, and they've got another helicopter up there. I don't know if Christopher Nolan's in there, but it's got this huge camera. I think it's probably an IMAX, because I think a lot of that was filmed in IMAX. And we just sat there and watched. I was like, I can't believe this is happening right now.
awesome.
This is amazing. It was the pinnacle of my, of that time that I was in. And the guy literally did a swan dive off this building attached to this helicopter on a line and harness, and that helicopter swung out, and he just sat there and like glided the whole
Really?
way. And the other helicopters just like revolving around him, trying to catch the right angles. And I don't even think that was the final shot. That was just like
Was this
training.
was this for The Dark Knight, or was this for Batman
So-
Begins, or what?
It was definitely
Okay.
for The Dark Knight, because I think that was filmed. I was out there in 2007.
Was it the scene where
so-
he jumps down into the window to get the guy? Do you think that's what it is?
Yes, yeah. So there was that scene where he's like using some sort of
Yep.
technology. He can see all the floors or whatnot. And I definitely think it was training for that scene to take place at night.
The echolocation, right? Wasn't that the echolocation with the
Yes.
cell phones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that was it. And he goes in there and takes them out one by one. That was
Very
it.
cool.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So you did your own movie. You want to
yeah.
talk about your movie a little bit, or
Mhm.
what is
Yeah,
the
we
ETA
can.
on this? I know this was a kind of passion project for you. What's the name of it again?
It's called Batman Terrors of the Night. I kind of went through some different names and kind of settled on that one. But I've been actually doing Batman fan films since probably the recent release of The Dark Knight too, and that's why it's number one for me on the list too. Just because there was a lot of things in that movie that tied in with what I was doing at the time. So yeah, doing fan films since 2008. I've got a few of them out there, and then this one, I was lucky enough to grab a crew from Cedar Rapids. There's a lot of good film talent, like a big film community out there. A lot of good talent, and I was out there on, I think, a Facebook group page, and I just like posted this video of myself green screen, and I've actually got the clip out there on YouTube on my YouTube channel. And I was like, I uploaded. I was like, does anybody want to help me make a Batman fan film? And that same evening, I think I had like 15
Really?
messages from people from that community just saying like, yeah, we want in. And I had actors like reaching out to me that had won some awards at film festivals and stuff. They're like, dude, do you need a penguin? Do you need the Riddler? Do you need Joker?
That's awesome.
So I was like, I didn't have this script written in a way that I had a total, like a bunch of villains, because I didn't want to, overload it. But when people started reaching out to me, I was like, I got to start involving this talent that is out here, because these people want to play these parts. So I quick, wrote up a little scene here and there, So they're kind of cameo scenes, but they still nailed it perfectly. So yeah, so it was a passion project. It was a project that I'd been wanting to work on with a big film crew for years, probably for the last 10 years, and the crews of the past, I was working with maybe just a few handful of guys, maybe like 4 or 5 guys, and this was, I think, like 10 to 15 crew one night.
Yeah,
We're filming for
we
hours.
I
visited
know
you there.
that you were gracious enough to extend the invite to Chad and I to go out and watch you guys film. I think you're at an old school.
Sure.
And Chad and I have talked
Yep.
about this. We were incredibly impressed with, the way the film was being shot, the crew behind the cameras and the directors, and then you look at like the actual talent that was there. I remember watching some of the fight scenes and watching them, prepare for it. Yourself, Chris, I think was the guy that was playing Red Hood, if I remember that correctly. And just watching everybody go through the fight scenes. I mean, while we were there, it looked like y'all were punching each other. You know, I mean, like it looked good. I can't imagine like what it's going to look like when it's all edited. So.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is that they already had somebody in mind for choreography, and I didn't know anything about these guys. I'd done some choreography, and it's tough to pull that stuff off with actually. But these guys, they didn't care if they hit each other. I was like, all right, why don't you take the outfit? And, so I actually, I think it was that day. I'm not sure if you guys were there, but I actually injured myself on set. I was using the longer cape. I should have been wearing my shorter cape, like the combat cape. But I ended up stepping on the cape and spraining my knee that day. Yeah. So it was pretty painful. The guy that was playing Red Hood actually took the role of Batman. We switched costumes, or he took the outfit. Didn't really fit him quite as well. He's only like 19 at the time. But they got a younger guy in the role, and you can't even tell, he trains with a guy that actually does the choreography. They do martial arts.
I remember
stuff,
talking to them about that, and
perfect.
I mean, like they actually like train in real life, like outside of films. I mean, like they're actually martial arts trainers.
Yeah.
So,
and they're dedicated to it too, So they were comfortable with each other. If they hit each other, that's good with me. It just sells the effect, of course. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I think it was like 4 or 5 days of filming.
Is this we talked to a lot of directors and writers and things of that nature, and when anyone's shooting a film, I always got to ask, I mean, is this like self-funded, or did you go out and like do a GoFundMe page? I mean, because that's not cheap to get talent, to get cameras, to get all that kind of gear. What's the whole thought process?
You got to think about this. Clint. I am a collector, so of course I've got all kinds of props. I already had the outfit, so and a lot of the outfits that were left up to like actually I bought a lot of those too. So
I remember when we were there, everything we picked up, it's like, this is Nathan's.
Yeah.
Yep, this is Nathan's. I don't know I don't know how much you had there, but man, I think you could have outfitted that whole thing. So.
Yeah. Well, I wanted everybody to have an option to kind of provide their not own costumes, but like what would they want to make the character look like, or how would they want the character to be like in their own eyes, in their own view. So I kind of gave people that option, but and in the end, I just let them have the outfits. I was like, just take it home with you, because this is an experience for me, but I want you guys to be remembering this and having this experience too, just as much as I am. So
you're saying that
they all took the outfits home?
They kept the outfits, or they just took them home?
Yeah. They kept them.
Wow, man. Wow. That's cool. I mean, that's cool. That's super cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's good for you, man. That's very cool.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I wanted everybody to have a good experience, and if I was to make a sequel, hey,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
They got them.
So when can we expect to see this film? I know that you've been talking about it for a while. What's the date, the hopeful date?
No scheduled date yet. As far as indie filmmaking goes, it can kind of be hit or miss a lot of times. And these guys out in Cedar Rapids, they are some of the best talented out there. I mean, they've stayed
Yeah.
very, very busy. At first, it was going to be the editing was going to be in my hands. I kind of ran into some issues and didn't know all that much about it. I mean, I had some experience, but I wasn't that experienced. So I contacted another filmmaker, Michael, I think Minard. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but he actually just had his first feature length film. He's going to film festivals. He's won some awards here in Iowa. So the choreographer that actually did a lot of the choreography in my Batman film, he's the star of that film. And there's a couple others in there too. The guy who played the Riddler and the guy who played Nightwing are both in there. The guy who played Doctor Strange is also the main villain.
Okay, very cool.
A lot of names in there, but they've all got very good talent. So, but like I said, they're staying very busy. He got to a point where he couldn't work on it anymore. So that took a couple months to do, and then after that, I had to reach back out to the original filmmakers, and it's in their hands right now. So, but I've been told they're working on it. It's a slow progress, but like I said, they're very busy guys.
Well,
so
you got to keep us abreast of that because we want to be there for that premiere and stuff like that. I'd really like to. Yeah, actually, they're firing up the Alito Alito movie house. Opera House. There you go. Wow, that was tough. That might be a good place to premiere it if you can't get another theater to premiere it. So, just throwing that out there, Alito, Illinois.
Okay. Yeah, I have to keep that in mind. I know the guys that are working on it right now they've recently changed their name. They're Mediaverse Studios now, and they've got a place out in Marengo, Iowa. It actually used to be like an old fairgrounds, or like it's like a huge barn. They're actually turning it into a huge studio with a bunch of different sets, and they've got a theater now. So I would imagine it'd probably be played there. But I'm gonna keep my options open for sure.
So Nathan, this is called Terrors of the Night, then, right? And you have talk to us about how some of the listeners could maybe keep track of some of this and also follow you. I know you're very active on Instagram. You got your YouTube channel. Give us some of that information. I know the movie itself, I think, has its own Instagram. So
it does. Yeah. So the movie itself, you could probably tag it in the link, but it's Batman Terrors of the Night. If you just look that up on Instagram, you should be able to find it. You can follow me, the Burly Bat. I'm out there and I try to, every once in a while, if I got an update, I'll try to share it. But that's mainly the two ways to try and keep up on it. There are a couple trailers out there too. I don't know if I've shared them with you guys.
But I want to check those out.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a teaser trailer that's about a minute long, and then like the full official trailer is 2 minutes and 15 seconds, I think. So that's out there and I can give you the link too, but it's made by Century Films.
Yeah, nice. Absolutely. We can put that on
we will watch that as soon as this podcast is over. So
yeah, it's, oh man, when I first saw it, I was like, this is going to be great. I cannot wait. Well, they're such good filmmakers.
Well, one of the cool things, that Chad and I were talking about earlier, which is just you're local, right? I mean, you're talking to us from Burlington, Iowa. That's where the Burly Bat comes from. I think that's so cool to see folks that are in our local area that are doing these types of things that you're doing. Not only from a film perspective, but also from just this genre, right? I mean, it's fun to see somebody this involved in this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's I actually just did a scene a couple nights ago that was supposed to finish up the initial scene. I was on a rooftop downtown Burlington, so right there by the riverfront. I was up about 9 stories.
That is so cool.
So yeah.
Did you have a helicopter and a harness?
I'm not that dedicated, and I ain't gonna put myself in
That's
that
not
position.
the budget yet either, right?
not yeah, definitely not on the budget. Not unless you want to see me splattering on the concrete. So
Well, talk to us about the Burley Bat. Is this something? Is this a business aspect for you? I mean, do you hire yourself out? Can somebody hire you to bring in Batman to a party or to some outing or something of that nature?
yeah, actually, I've done a few birthday parties. I would like to do more. I'm actually doing one tomorrow, but don't tell anyone I'm Spider-Man for that one.
Got an upgrade then.
so, so yeah. Well, I definitely do have an outfit that's it's based off of Tobey
Very cool.
Maguire,
Oh,
so
nice.
it's a really nice outfit. But yeah, I love doing birthday parties. I love seeing kids, their smiles just light up. I've got a 4-year-old son that just thinks I'm
I
Batman
love that, man. I love
That is
that.
at this
awesome.
point. Yeah. So he actually dressed up as Batman this year for Halloween and went door to door, and you should have seen him just strutting the sidewalk.
Well, he's probably like
So
out there like, I have
that's
the coolest dad ever. He has a bat cave with like all this cool, awesome stuff. So
Yeah.
I mean, come on now, that's amazing.
yeah, he was begging to come down here tonight, but he's a good kid.
That's cool. Well, Nathan, I tell you what, man, I appreciate you. Chad and I both appreciate you jumping on the show here and having an awesome conversation with
Yeah.
us. I think this is something we'd love to continue to have you on and keep this conversation going at a later time.
Yeah, I'd love that. It's like I said, I was acquainted to you guys back a couple years ago. I was looking forward to talking with you guys. I love watching your channel and keeping up with you guys. So I love movies
Yeah.
as well.
Hey, there's an idea.
All
Maybe we
kinds.
should just
So
have you back sometime. We'll just chat movies in general because
Oh,
I'm all about that.
there we go.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would love that. Absolutely, I'd be on board with
Very
Well,
that for sure.
we'll actually get a hold of you sometime. We'll go we'll go see a movie over there at the movie theater in Burlington. Join along with us, and then we'll do a review afterwards.
Great idea.
Yeah, hit me up. Absolutely. You know
Yeah.
my number. I'll be in the area.
Or
Absolutely.
if we can't find you, we'll just send up a bat signal. So
I'm always looking for the bat signal. It's out there.
Love it. Love it.
Downtown Burlington's
Yeah,
got the
for
vibe.
sure. For sure.
There you go. Well, Nathan, thank you, man. You have a great night.
Absolutely. Yeah, you too.
Yep. Thanks, Nathan. Have a
y'all.
good one.
Chad, we got to talk to the Batman. We got to talk to Nathan. That was a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was really cool, and I'm glad that Nathan or that Batman introduced us to Nathan because a couple cool guys. Wish
Yeah.
Batman had more time to chat, but yeah, regardless, it was a fun time.
I figure if we want to talk to him again, we'll shoot the bat signal up and
Yeah.
and see about picking his brain another time.
Do you think the bat signal will go from Keithsburg, Illinois to Burlington? It ought to, right?
Yeah, I've seen some lights that shine pretty bright there before. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right. You're right. That's true. That's true. That's an inside joke here for the local Keithsburg folks.
yes,
Touche. Touche.
I think you could almost see that from Burlington or Muscatine. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
well, Chad, I tell you what, the credits are rolling.
The lights are coming on. Wait, do we do it the same time, same bat channel? It's not gonna be that way anyway. But I had to throw it out there anyway. Lights are still
All right.
coming on.
All right, and that's the end of the show.